Proof that this membership actually works. So if you've been looking at some information about LegalShield, obviously there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of things that it actually covers. How it can definitely help you, just in preventative measures in regards of just your day to day life, and even things that sometimes bad things happen to good people every day. And I've got some proof here that it actually works. And now we got millions of customers on this membership, but I've got several stories that I'm going to share with you in this video. Really short stories, about a minute, minute and a half, maybe no more than 2 minutes each of these individual stories, but pretty powerful stories on how this membership definitely helps some people in certain circumstances. So let's check it out really quick. We're going to talk a little bit about each one, and I mean, you can see for yourself the membership definitely does work. So let me change it up here really quick, and I'll show you really fast here. Let me pause this and I'll show you really quick. So here we go. Check it out, and I'll come right back.
My oldest son is getting married next year, and we contracted a venue for the wedding. I paid $1,500 for a deposit, and we signed a contract. A few weeks later, we found out that they were changing the circumstances around the venue, and it was not what they had promised us. And when I asked them if we could cancel the contract, they said, unfortunately, no. They were going to keep our deposit and hold on to all of the money, and we were out of luck. What I did when I had a problem was I called LegalShield. Once we realized that we were getting a check back and it was resolved, we were all really, really excited. Because up until that point, we were anxious, upset, concerned, because nobody likes to throw away money, whether it's $1 or $1,500.
Wow. Hey, you know what? When you get a letter from a law firm saying, hey, we represent our client and you're taking advantage of them, it's funny how people want to act right at that point. It's pretty powerful. So obviously they were able to get their money back, because that's how they do. That's exactly how they do you. And lucky for her, they had a LegalShield membership. So when things like that, normally when things like that happen, we get upset, we cuss, we get mad and huff and puff or whatever. But typically we don't do anything about it, because we're like, well, hey, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars to handle this issue, even though I can use my money back. But maybe some people do, most people don't, because they don't have the resources. Because we all know attorneys cost a lot of money. But if you have a LegalShield membership, when things like that happen, and of course you never know who would have thought that would have happened? And lucky for them, they had LegalShield, and they were able to help them out of that situation. So kudos to them. Here, let me check out another one here. I got another one. Let me pause it and I'll show you guys here. Check it out.
So 2 years ago, Thanksgiving night, I'm heading home to a pregnant wife. She wasn't feeling good that night, but we still had to eat, and I wasn't cooking. And on my way home, I see the officer sent off to the right-hand side. So I'm doing everything right. I'm 10 and 2, no phone in hand. My seatbelt was on. Here in Atlanta, the yellow light mean go faster, but that night it meant stop. I did everything right, but when I passed that officer, his blue light still came on in my rearview mirror. For the first time in my life, I did not panic. I simply pulled out my phone. I tapped this app. I pressed that little red button. I was connected to an attorney that said, Mr. Hillman, are you being arrested, detained, or questioned? I said, I don't know what I'm being, but I'm being pulled over and I didn't break the law. Do you mind just standing on the line with me? He said, absolutely. Let the officer know that I'm listening in. When the officer finally got to my window and asked for my license, I handed it to him. But at the same time, I told him that my attorney was listening in. The attorney spoke up, introduced himself, and said, Officer, why did you pull my client over this evening? The officer said, well, as you know, sir, during the holidays, that's when we have the most drinking and driving and reckless driving. Tonight, we just want to be cautious. The attorney thanked him. He said, thank you for protecting people like my client. But let me ask you this. Was my client speeding at the time of the stop? The officer said he was not. He said, was he swerving or did he feel the signal when he switched lanes? The officer said he did not. He said, do you guys have a parole bump for the stop? The officer said, no, we do not. He said, well, I want to ask you one last time before you run my client's license, and I asked for your badge number. Why did you pull my client over this evening? The officer handed me back my license, tapped my hood twice, and told me I was free to go. Because I had access to my legal rights, I was able to make it home that night to see my son be born a few months later, see him take his steps, see him say his first words, because I had access. See, when I saw this 2 years ago, I had to ask myself a question. Do I want to continue to pray that my family never get in a situation like this? Or do I want to be proactive? I chose the latter, and I pray and hope that you do the same today.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. Go ahead, sir. Here's your license back. I mean, That's what we got because we get 24-hour access to an attorney if we're ever pulled over. Doesn't matter what state we're in. Doesn't matter what time of the evening it is. We get access to an attorney. In those situations. So thanks to LegalShield, he was able to go about his evening, if that makes sense. So pretty cool story. Let's check out another one here.
Well, I've used
let me check it out here. Give me a second. Check this one out. This one's pretty interesting.
Well, I've used my LegalShield membership over 100 times in the last 29 years. I'm not a criminal, but I get to use them all the time because I can, right? And
well, he said he's had the membership for 29 years. It's a lot of members like that.
One of my stories is I got overbilled by a cell phone carrier, right? And $30 a month, not a whole lot, but I didn't catch it till my 9th month, right? So I called them up to dispute it. They said, you know what, you're right. We made a mistake and you should be paying $150 a month, right? That's what the contract was for. And we're going to refund you 90 days, but I'm out 9 months, right? And I said 90 days not going to work. And I said, let me talk to your supervisor. And guess what the supervisor said? The same thing, right? And he says, that's our policy. I said, well, that's not my policy. I'm going to have to call my attorney. And he laughed. He said, you ought to call your attorney. So I did. Guess what? They wrote a nice little letter for me to the cell phone service carrier. And guess what? The following month, I got my $280 back, plus $100 for being a good customer. How's that?
How's that? I like that. I mean, that's how, So you see what I mean here is I know some people look at LegalShield and they think, well, I'm not in trouble. I don't get in trouble. I'm a good person. These are all good people, but things happen. Things come up, and there's a lot. I'm sure there are a lot of moments in your life, maybe in the past or maybe even recently, for some, maybe today, where you could have been like, you know what? Let me just call my attorney really quick and see if they can help me in this situation. Whether it been some kind of consumer related type of thing, like this gentleman with his cell phone carrier, and because normally, most of us in that situation, if they say, well, hey, we can only refund you 90 days, most of us are going to be like, well, okay, well, that's better than nothing. I'll just take that. He was like, well, hey, I've been paying, you guys have been overcharging me for like 9 months. You're just going to give me 90 days. There's still 6 more months left, in that equation that I'm owed. So because he had LegalShield, he just had to just pick up the phone, call his attorney. It didn't cost him anything extra at all because he's a member. So we get that free. And, as a member, it comes in our plan. He contacted the law firm. Law firm contacted the cell phone carrier, and boom, he got his money back plus some more. And hey, you just can't beat that. That's the power of this membership. And it's not about you being a troublesome type of individual, but troublesome circumstances and situations happen to people, good people, every single day. And the only reason we don't really contact an attorney because who wants to spend $300, $400, $500 an hour just to ask a question about something? So, but if you're a LegalShield member, you don't have to worry about those things because it's not a matter if you're going to need this membership. It's just a matter of when. Let me repeat it. It's not a matter if you will ever need this. It's just a matter of when you can use it. Okay. And because things happen, as you can see here. Let's move on here. Let's move on to the next one. Here, give me 1 second. And let me show you guys. Check this one out. It's pretty cool here.
So I had a situation where I brought my car in to get my air conditioner fixed over the summertime. And when I got the car back and went on the highway, the air coming through the vents was hotter than the air outside. So it's pretty evident it didn't do the repairs properly. And I'm getting a runaround for the manager at the repair shop. So I called my LegalShield provider attorney just to see what my rights were in that situation. Found out that I actually had legal merit. I was in the right. So the attorneys made a decision to make a phone call on my behalf. And I got a call back from the attorney a few moments later. This is a follow-up, and was able to get the manager at the repair shop not only to make the repairs, but was also able to get them to waive all the labor fees. So I was able to save over $250 in labor charges just by the attorney making a phone call on my behalf.
Wow. Hey, it's pretty good. Power of this membership. Man, it just feels good when things like that happen. It's just peace of mind. We all got health insurance and car insurance, life insurance, a lot of those insurance you don't want to use. If that makes sense, like, you don't want to use your life insurance, right? You don't want to use your car insurance because if you use your car insurance, I mean, something bad happened. And, and if you're covered, you can, it can help with repairs of your car, injury, et cetera, right? But nobody wants to go through that because even though you might have car insurance, something happens, God forbid, it's just the hassle and stress of going through it. So nobody wants to use those things. But in LegalShield, they want you to use it. Use it, regularly because these are things that happen to a lot of people every single day. And it feels good that you can always just pick up a phone if you ever have a question about anything. And that's what we have here. So let's check out another one here.
So I personally used the ID Shield plan for the very first time because I was pulled over. So don't judge me, but I did get a traffic ticket. And when I was pulled over, I actually found out that I had a warrant for my arrest in the state of Alabama. Now, I knew it couldn't have been me because I'd never been to the state of Alabama. So I went back and forth with the officer. He was really kind about it, but I said, look, that wasn't me. He ran down all of the information. I said, well, it sounds like me, but I had never been to the state of Alabama. Luckily, I also had LegalShield, so I was able to use my 24/7 emergency access, had the attorney speak on my behalf, which, helped me to be able to go home that night. Felt really good about knowing that I had that type of protection. But on the back end, I was able to talk to my fraud advisor and specialist with ID Shield, and they found the errors. They found that someone actually did use my information right in the state of Alabama. Of course, when they got a ticket with my information on ID, their picture, they didn't go to court. So that's how I ended up with a warrant. When they found those errors, they actually restored me back to the way it was before that thief got a hold of it. They didn't find that gentleman that used my information, but I didn't have to go to the state of Alabama on a ticket that wasn't mine. So I felt really good about knowing that I had both LegalShield and ID Shield to protect not only my legal rights, but also my identity.
Wow. Now that's crazy. I mean, I know it happens every day and it happens to probably millions of people every year. I mean, identity theft is a big deal. And of course our ID Shield plan definitely can help in those situations, just like this individual, just this gentleman right here. And what's interesting is, I mean, he was a victim of identity theft, and because of it, he had a warrant for his arrest. I mean, I've seen other stories like that on the news and stuff like that over the years and stuff like that. So these things happen, and again, nobody goes out looking for those kind of situations. Things like that just kind of happen. And when they happen, I mean, all you can really do is, for a lot of us, we really don't know what to do if we don't have a LegalShield membership. You just, you go, you search online. Let me check Google. Let me check ChatGPT. What should I do? All those kind of things, right? And but if you got the ID Shield plan, they can really go to bat for you. And again, I've got more information about the plan, about the membership. Just check out the information in the YouTube description below. It'll give you more insight. But I think I got a few more here. I definitely want to share with you guys. I mean, again, these are real stories, but as you can see, these are just regular everyday people that are members of the LegalShield membership, and they're just sharing, hey, these are the things we actually use it for, and these things happen. And luckily, I had the membership, so when that happened, I was able to get whatever resolved, and I can just continue to move on with my life. So it's pretty interesting stuff here. Let's check out another one.
Hello, my name is Eddie Bales, and I had a situation where my brother and I were playing ball, and he had an allergic reaction or something, and he couldn't breathe. So I rushed him to the emergency room because he panicked, and so did I. And so on the way, an off-duty police officer pulled us over. I tell him what's going on. He follows us to the emergency room and then gives us a ticket. I didn't think it was right. Of course, said I was going 100 miles per hour in a 50, but I was obviously just trying to save my brother's life. And so long story short, I pleaded not guilty, and one of the LegalShield attorneys went and represented me, and he noticed that the officer wrote the ticket wrong. So he presents that to the judge, and due to that technicality, the judge had no choice but to throw it out of court, saved me $600 in fines, 11 points, a suspension, and I could have faced 30 days in jail because he said I was going 50 miles over, which is considered criminal. And so from that point on, I was super duper excited about LegalShield, and I am LegalShield for life. Thank God for LegalShield.
LegalShield for life. Um, that definitely saved him a lot of stress for sure, just because he had that membership. Because he $600 fine, time in jail, points on his record, insurance would have been crazy. He'd have been dealing with that issue for years, actually. With something as that severe. But most of us in that situation, if that happened, we would have just paid the fine, dealt with the points on our record, dealt with the higher insurance rates, maybe, possibly went to jail. Probably so, because most of us wouldn't have money to hire an attorney a lot of times or whatever. So, I mean, who knows what could have happened in that situation? I'm sure it would have been a totally different scenario if he hadn't had LegalShield. I'm sure things would have went a little bit differently. Even if he had to hire an attorney, he would spend a lot more money on that. It just could have been a hot mess, if that makes sense, if he hadn't had LegalShield. But because he did, he was able to get the help that he needed, and it saved him a lot of stress down the road. So, hey, kudos to LegalShield. Kudos to him for actually having it. And, like you said, hey, because it is, I'm gonna always keep this membership, because you never know what's going to happen, and it could definitely save you a lot of headaches. So there's another example. Let's check out one more.
So we've all had different situations happen when we fly and travel, and I'm no different. My wife and I had a situation a few years back where we were flying to Hawaii with the family on vacation, and we had bought 4 tickets and spent over $5,000 on these 4 tickets. And when we got to Las Vegas, we got stranded in Las Vegas for an entire day because of a mechanical issue on the incoming plane. It wasn't weather related, it was a mechanical issue. So we worked with the airline, but we spent the entire day in Las Vegas. We lost the night at the hotel. We missed the day of our vacation. When I got home, I contacted the airline and I said, is there anything you can do for us? Explain what happened. And unfortunately, they said their policy was that there was nothing that they could do in that situation, but to please fly them again and they would do better next time. But because of LegalShield, I contacted my provider law firm, who wrote a letter on my behalf to the airline. And within 2 weeks, I had an apology letter from this airline in the mail with 4 free tickets to use anywhere in North America. So we used those tickets to fly to California. It was worth over $2,000 in the end on those 4 tickets, but it's all because I had access to my legal rights. I had access to an attorney who could write that letter on my behalf. So where my contact didn't get the results I wanted, LegalShield was able to help me access the results that I was hoping to get.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, that's pretty cool. Wow. Man, that's actually pretty cool. That it was not cool that it happened. And I think me and my wife have flown a lot over the years. And you know what? There's been several circumstances where I could have called LegalShield and probably got some type of apology or credit or something like that. I think one time there was a delay or something. They put us in a hotel or what have you, but we were planning on going back home, so we kind of had to rearrange some things or whatever. But I think we've all been through that, especially nowadays. That happens a lot now with all the things that's going on, in the country and even in the world when it comes to like airline traffic control and all that stuff. I'm sure somebody's going through that like literally right now. I guarantee you, somewhere in the country, there's a lot of people going through that exact situation right now. And hopefully some of them have a LegalShield membership or just access to an attorney. But our members do. So that's one thing I like about what we have here. As you can see, so if you're wondering, well, are people really using this membership? I mean, every single day. And again, guys, remember, let's just be practical. This company's been around for over 50 years, 4.5 million customers. And I remember years ago, because if you've seen some of my other videos, we did this way back in the day when it used to be called Prepaid Legal Services. And I remember they put out there was a big ad in USA Today, back when papers were, newspapers were still like a big deal. I think they're still out or whatever, but But USA Today put out over 1 million customers. I remember that. This is like early 2000s, like 2000 or 2001, or it might have been 1999. I can't remember, but guys, over 4.5 million customers. It's growing like crazy right now, and I think it's just because of the state of the country, state of North America, just the era that we live in now. We're very litigious. There's a lot going on, and in having this type of protection that can help shield you and your family from a lot of stuff. I mean, it just makes sense. It really does. And again, I don't have to prove it. And I mean, you saw it for yourself. You saw the videos there, and there's a whole lot more. I mean, we don't have time to go through all these different video testimonials. There's like 100 of them here. I just picked some randomly here, but you know what? This membership definitely does work. The opportunity works as well. But if you want more information about it, I'm not going to get into everything that it covers and how it works. You kind of got an idea here of some of the things that it definitely covers just by having that simple membership. Check it out. You see some information right below the membership. They've got different various plans that you can definitely choose from. We have a 37. I know the legal plan, the preferred legal plan is like $37.95. The ID Shield's $34.95. If you get both of those, which is our flagship product, which it comes out to roughly about $72. It's like $72.90, something like that. And it's pretty interesting what they got here, guys. And we got all kinds of different plans and all kinds of information that you can check out. Check out the information right below. I'll drop some info in the YouTube description below that you can check out. You can see more information about the membership, more information about the opportunity. Man, the opportunity though is even powerful, even powerful as well. If not equally powerful as the membership. So I'm pretty excited about it. Pretty fired up how this plan really helps a lot of people, a lot of families on a pretty much on a day-to-day basis. And it's definitely a great benefit to have for you and your family. So that's all I got in this video, guys. I just wanted to kind of share some insight. Hope you got some value from it. There's even more videos. There's more content. I'll be sharing more. Be sure to like and subscribe on this channel. And of course, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And with that said, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.